Well, the new album, Kin, is out on October 29th. It feels almost quite soon, really. Yes, as if because it was only announced on the last day of August, I think, August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So you almost kind of think, oh shit, that's less than 2 months now. So
I know it's nice. Yeah, we've been sitting on this album for, I guess the last note was recorded in middle January, so we've been sitting on it for a good 8 months.
okay,
Yeah, so we're ready. We're ready to get it out.
why is it taking 8 months to release?
Just with the mix and the master and the album art too. It took, after the album was finished, we started the art, so that took about a month.
Okay.
And also, like, I guess with the vinyl printing and the just everything's all backed up from the pandemic, so it just takes time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. What can you tell me about the title of the album? Where does that come from?
Well, Ken, we tried to represent, like, the deep, it's like a layered, it's like a heavy concept, and try to like kind of package it in like kind of like the simplest word we could. And so Ken, we just brainstormed a lot of ideas. Kim seemed to be the one that fit the best because it's related. It's Ken means related to.
Yeah.
And album concepts about a kind of it's like a true, like a fictional story and also a non-fictional story, is the fact that it like kind of deals with mental illness. It's kind of splitting personalities in two, which means, I mean, that's what Kin represents, like kind of like there's two selves that Phil's sort of dealing with inside of him, but they're the same because it's all in his head. And then when it starts dealing with the science, kind of science fiction aspect of it, deals with more of just those selves actually being tangible beings and battling each other, trading realities, and just the whole the story that takes place throughout the record is pretty much just the two forces, Phil's real true self and the evil self, battling each other.
Cool.
And that all came from that all spawned from the valley, like, traumatic events kind of create deep shadow selves, kind of touches on, like philosophers or psychologists, Carl Jung, Ken Wilber, they have, there's like, studies about, this sort of thing. But
I think that's reflected very well with the artwork. I mean, like you say, you took your time on that. It's an oddly beautiful piece of art, for such a ferocious sounding record.
Yeah.
Well, I assume it's going to be ferocious. Obviously, I've already heard Lost Boys so far.
Oh, okay.
But it's a really nice piece of art, and like you say, we've got the two kind of figures facing off against each other, but it's not like crystal clear. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look like a wrestling card.
Yeah, that was, that's one of the main reasons we went with an artist. Well, Jillian, my wife, she's like a fine artist. She has a degree in drawing, and it's cool to bring her on to do it, since we had a concept in mind, and once we had an idea of what it should look like.
Yeah.
And that's just that's half the battle, just having an idea, because it takes a lot of commitment once you put that paint to canvas. Like, you got to know what you're going to do. So it's just, I got the album art right here, actually, on the wall.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so it's based, we wanted some indistinct beings, kind of represents like the souls within ourselves. I didn't want to have like specific, facial features. You can tell what it is. Like, So kind of like ambiguous, spirits, and it's kind of like flowing like kind of smoky particles, kind of like stardust or something. And it kind of represents, the static, kind of like thought static too. That's so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all feeds into what makes it such a really good piece of art, because it's very kind of ethereal in a way, and in another way it's quite celestial. In another way, it kind of looks like an X-ray. So there's so much.
Yeah.
It really does bring out the theme of the album, at least from what you're telling me. So.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Celestial. That's a good word for it. Yeah. Because there's, you got space, final frontier out there, but you also have like, infinite kind of universes in your head too. So it can kind of be like a cephalic celestial thing going on. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned the Valley a moment ago. In what way is Kin different from the Valley?
Well, there's just more to go on. So we had with the Valley, we wrote the music not knowing that Phil was going to write the concept that he did about his childhood. So the music was written without it was just what we wanted to hear. So once like Phil came with the concept afterwards, we could kind of package the album art and like the look and the feel and the horror themes of it off that. So that was a good jumping block to go off of when starting the new album, because we actually knew it was going to be a, part 2, like just a continuation of the saga. So we just, we didn't know what he was going to write about. We just knew, okay, what would we want to hear after, the Valley ends, after Doomwoods closes, like what is that next sound that it's going to sound like? So, I mean, it was just a good, kind of jumping point from there. And once the first song that we kind of like not finished, but like kind of sparked the inspiration to continue writing was the first track on Kin, which is I Will Find You. And so it kind of like, that felt like that's what the next chapter should sound like.
Okay.
And, we kind of just finished the record from there. That it just needed, that's just what's got the ball rolling. And, just once you start working on one song, it kind of gives you confidence to, work on other songs and kind of, piece them together,
All kind of snowballs from there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as well, this is the first album with Alex on drums. He's been with you for a couple of years, I think, as a live musician, but this is, I think, his first album as an official member of Whitechapel. Mm-hmm. What is it that he's brought to the table in terms of the recording and everything that's been a little bit different for you to work with?
Well, he was just prepared. Like, we've never been with the drummer that was like more prepared to record. Like he had all the parts, like, mapped out in his head, and like each part had like 5 other like ideas like he could do. So he just tried out, he had all these like, he had a bunch of ideas he could do, but everything was already like mapped out for him. Yeah. That he did, we'd write the music and then he would just like kind of add his thing to it, which brought it to a whole nother level. And his so it's his professionalism and his attitude. He has a very positive attitude, and his just the way he plays, he hits super hard, and he can groove, and he could play, beat the hell out of drums, when it needed to be, and get tasty when he needed to be, but he doesn't like overdo it. He just kind of complements, the parts, and yeah. So it was great. I mean, yeah, once you find a drummer like that, you gotta hold on to him.
Absolutely. I mean, I know people that are they're not fans of Whitechapel, but they want to check this album out because they know Alex, like from all the 50 other bands he's been with over the past few years. So So that's cool as well. I think it has that the drawing ability. So,
Mm-hmm.
and as for the recording process itself, were you able to come together to work with this, or did you kind of do it in isolation and file share?
No, we didn't. We social distance and stuff like when we weren't working together, but like when we work together, we have to be in the same room, or else the songs just won't get finished, or they won't, be at the fullest potential they can be. So, I mean, we just do it how we do every album, we just get together in a room, listen through the ideas and, kind of distill kind of, just, we all have to agree on something before it proceeds on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we can work. Like, if we had to just shoot ideas back and forth through email, it would just, probably never get done.
Yeah. I think that kind of takes away the magic of it as well. The songs can, sometimes like you'll listen to an album and you can tell that it was all done via file sharing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like threaded, together.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of like part.
Yeah.
We want the album to seem just, kind of like just an organic being in itself that just kind of moves in and out, flows,
Well, like I said, the only song I've heard so far is Lost Boy. And I really like it because for me, it's got like a kind of grindcore edge to it, which I'm a big fan of. So I don't know if that was something intentional or if that's just kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like an homage, like the that stuff's kind of like an homage to like the bands we influenced us, in the kind of when we started out, just those bands like Necrophagist and the Red Chord and Beneath the Massacre. It's kind of like mid 2000s death metal bands that influenced us, kind of homage to that, but put through our eyes. And and we also added the what's it, cascading atmospherics, in the center with Phil singing, and kind of opened up a whole, kind of creates want it to feel more like it's creating like images in your head. It's like I'd rather someone tell me like the song felt like you're swimming and you crawl in a deep sea, and you like crawl into a cave, and like it's something opens up, and just creatures, it's just this like images, not like, oh, this sounds like this band or this sounds like this band. We just don't want it to sound like, oh, okay, here's this style part, this sounds like this band, and then this part that sounds like this band. We kind of always want it to thread together seamlessly in a way. So that's that's kind of the hardest part of songwriting. It's just kind of the craft of it.
I think you've done that very successfully with this thing, because like I say, I heard like, or what I thought I could hear was grindcore elements to it, but I wasn't thinking, oh, it sounds like Napalm Death or Brutal Truth, like that, and it's interesting, you mentioned somebody describing it as kind of being swept up and floating and that kind of thing. Because I kind of got the opposite feeling. For me, it was like a falling kind of motion. It was just like plummeting into hell, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the first part of it's like plummeting. It's which is cool, because it uses the riff kind of supports, kind of woo woo woo. It's kind of like just feel I get that. I get that, which is cool. You just got to work it. You just try different things out until they work. The first riff is actually it's like the sound of a East Tennessee owl. That's like kind of what got the inspiration for that riff, because the owl sounds like it's like a ooh, 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 ooh. That's the sound the owl makes. Like it's only native to where we're from.
Yeah.
So we kind of like turn that into a riff, which sounds cool. And the harmonies in the song, because the harmony starts on the second like part, it repeats, and then like the third time it's like gets higher.
Yeah.
So it kind of creates it feels like it's like pushing upwards, like a leveling up. Like the harmony sounds like it's rising, and then the third part sounds like it's rising, and then the riff descends, so it sounds like it's descending.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like dealing with opposites too. Like we kind of had that in mind when writing, because the valley, it's like descending, and then so we wanted this to be kind of like an opposite sound. So we kind of wanted rising sounds.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's little like musical Easter eggs in there about that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Obviously, this one was a lyric video. There's still quite a while. Yeah, 6 weeks until the album is released, maybe 7. So going forward, have you got plans for more lyric videos or like a proper music video going forward?
Yeah, we have 3 music videos like at following Lost Boy, to where the band and Phil are involved. And yeah, we're like the next video we're releasing next week is gonna, it's a brutal one. It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a whole like story involved. It's kind of like a little horror movie in itself. So yeah, real excited for that one to come out.
Nice. Just to kind of wrap things up a little bit, what's the plans going forward? Because obviously they're still kind of touch and go in terms of tours and gigs and things like that. They're coming back, but very slowly. And obviously, like you say, COVID has kind of jammed the schedules for a lot of bands. So a lot of bands have just been rescheduling tours. So venues are booked up as well. So what's the plans for Whitechapel going forward?
Well, we have a hometown show booked in December, and then we have a couple tours like booked for next year. So we'll see, book it far in advance because we've already canceled enough tours. It's so we just want to book it far in advance just to make sure, hopefully everything's better by then. But there's a lot of tours going on now, which are doing great. So that's exciting. We're just, playing it by ear.
Cool. But thank you very much for taking time to speak to me today, man. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks, Oliver. Looking forward to seeing the article and, maybe you going over to UK sometime.
Absolutely. We'll always have fans here.
Hell yeah. Yeah. UK's always been great. Our first label was Siege of Amita Records, and they brought us over. That was the first time we went overseas, was in the UK. So yeah.
It's funny, man. I mean, when Whitechapel came out, like I used to see it in my local scene a lot. A lot of people were either wearing Whitechapel shirts or Suicide Silence shirts.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah.
Years later.
Yeah. It's full circle.
Yeah. Cool. Well, again, thank you very much. Look after yourself and best of luck with the album.
Oh, thanks, Oliver. Appreciate it, man.